Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one lined up for you today. We're going to talk about deflation or inflation. We're going to hear remarks from Cathie Wood, who has a huge investment fund that is tied into crypto, Tesla, and many other incredible investments. Michael Moiser from FinCEN, musical chairs leaving now? Well, we'll talk about that as well. Ripple customer Currency Cloud inks a new partnership. You're going to want to know about it. Central Bank of Estonia has rave reviews when it comes to blockchain and the digital euro. And what do you think about Rothschild family funding crypto platform for large institutional investors, are we? We'll get into it. And new documents from Vellore University out of India. And I believe it supports and reveals that it really is about RippleNet, Ripple, XRP, and all the money. Let's go ahead and roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove, and everything that we're talking about here today. 1.6 trillion for the cryptocurrency market cap. That's 20 some billion, I believe, back in just the last couple hours, putting back into the crypto space. Now that's serious money. And when I see that, I get excited, because when money comes into the market, there's no mistake, prices usually go up, right? That's what we're talking about. So right here, we're seeing that Bitcoin is back at 39,000, probably going to test 40 again. And Ethereum at 2,600 plus. We come down to Cardano at $1.36, and XRP is sitting at 72 cents, which is a very, very key resistance line for XRP itself. We know this courtesy of Coins Kid, who you should definitely be following. By the way, anytime we cover Coins Kid technical analysis, I will be putting his information for YouTube channel in the description box, and so you can have it. He is fantastic, and many others. But let's go ahead and do this and look at the range right now, ranging from 69 cents, 0.6987 on the low end, and then 7230 on the upper end, which is exactly where we are now with the price. So it is important to keep watching this. Remember, if we don't get through this major resistance point, we may see rollover to lower support lines, 60 cents, and possibly even below that. But hopefully we see the strength in the buying volume continue to support it and even push past it. But let's go ahead and get into the news right now. Cathie Wood, who is an amazing, amazing smart mind, economist, investor, has her own amazing investment fund, says long-term position that crude would drop and inflation may not become a reality. Technological innovation may be the one variable that has kept historical trends expected under current U.S. QE monetary policy at bay. This is something to think about and something to consider, isn't it? Is the impact that we talk about all the time about innovation, especially in regards to XRP, right? All the money, the velocity of money, right? The speed in which we can hand it to one another through transactions, which requires everyone to hold less in dormant capital overall. And obviously Ripple has things set up to where customers do not have to pre-fund accounts at all, because they can use XRP. So something to keep an eye on, the way the impact of innovation will affect this recovering economy. We will keep an eye on it. U.S. Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, said on Tuesday that its current acting director, Michael Moiser, who had previously worked at Chainalysis, will depart at the end of the week for a new opportunity. It does not say where, but I will say is that Michael Moiser worked at FinCEN, the Treasury, which FinCEN is a regulatory agency connected to the Treasury. He worked there, then went to work for Chainalysis, and then went back to FinCEN as the new Deputy Director of Digital Innovation, and is now leaving for another position. Now, they have, the U.S. government and the current administration has not appointed a CFTC chairman as of yet, just like we saw Gary Gensler for the SEC. I have always said, hey, Chris Brummer would be a great choice, and I think that he would be. But who knows? I wonder if maybe Michael Moiser might want to try his hat over at the Commodities Futures Trade Commission. We don't know. Maybe he goes to the private sector. We'll have to see. All right, looking right here, it says, in a fresh press release from the Hall of Famer Michael, Ripple customer Currency Cloud, which is a reminder, was bought by Visa for around $960 million, has stated that it has inked a new partnership deal with FX Pro, a top global player on the Forex market. For those of you who don't know, Forex market is the foreign exchange market for currencies. Just like you go to the stock market to buy stocks, the Forex market is where you go to trade currencies, currency pairs, right? Together, they plan to create new e-money solutions as part of FX Pro's new business, Bank Pro. Well, this is interesting to me because, if we remember, and we're going to get into some information from Valor University in a second that I think supports this understanding of where this tie-in comes from, right? Because what we're really talking about here is we're talking about Visa buying Currency Cloud, right, which is a Ripple customer, right? And then now we're seeing them connect with a Forex market to really tie in all this innovation to the currency market so we can begin to exchange anything we need to. And I think that will end up really basically expanding into crypto. I think crypto assets, digital assets, I should probably say, will be on that list, as they already are. But it's going to get deeper, and the pools of liquidity will get deeper, I believe, because of that. And there's not much to glean from the article other than what we understand already, right? So we will see what goes on here, global transfers and multi-currency accounts alongside a robust digital investment system, or services, excuse me. Now, this is exciting because the Central Bank of Estonia, who just said not long ago, a few weeks ago, they were going to do some testing, right? And they've discovered what is described as unlimited potential in its blockchain-based digital euro trials after discovering that blockchain tech can, in theory, support almost, unlimited scale in transaction throughput. Well, welcome to the party. And guess who else wants a seat at the party? It's the Rothschilds. And this is something I think has been out for a while, but it's come up again. So I want to remind everybody that one of the richest families on the planet is obviously funding for a crypto platform called Aspen Digital. And it is geared for the richest people in the world, some of which are noted are some of the richest family members from Thailand and many different other places, right? So pretty remarkable, the depth of people that are in this space, regardless of the lack of clarity. Let's shift gears a little bit here. This is a reminder just to kick things off here. The recent development in the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit has come in the defendant's favor. Brad Garlinghouse's motion to obtain international discovery from Binance documents from the Cayman Islands has been granted by the court. So there that is. And we know that Chris Larson had also received that same approval or motion approved green light from the court as well for many different exchanges. Now, this is a highlight of what we're talking about here is Brad Garlinghouse responding to a Michael Arrington tweet. Michael Arrington's tweet said, one thing Gensler made clear today, talking about his speech in the Aspen Institute, which I covered in the other video this morning. You should watch that for highlights. Gary Gensler thinks all of crypto is under his control, and he's eager to expand the power of the SEC. He said the law is clear based on 75 enforcement actions, but seems to be walking back clarity on ETH, which is Ethereum at least. All I see is more muddy water. Now, it's really well said, to be honest, because it is muddy water, right? This whole Anya Manuel, however you say her last name there, no disrespect to her, but she had made it very clear when asking the question that he did not want to answer, that, are you going to continue to let the SEC rule and regulate through enforcement and not provide any clear framework? He dodged the question. He absolutely dodged the question. In 2018, Brad Garlinghouse says William Hinman said ETH is not a security, and Jay Clayton agreed. But just weeks ago, Hinman filed a sworn affidavit in court saying the SEC still has not taken any position or expressed a view on ETH's status. So how is the market supposed to have clarity? There we have it. And the truth of the matter is, and I said it this morning, I've said it before, Ray Charles, God rest his soul, could see that Ethereum is in fact an initial coin offering. The videos are around, and everyone has seen them. Shout out to Digital Asset Investor, because nobody's been more vigilant in making sure that everyone sees them. That's the truth, right? So at the end of the day, you can't say the information's there or you're unclear about it, because there's plenty of videos of Vitalik Buterin exactly explaining that they're doing an initial coin offering, right? Bitcoin for Ethereum. You know, the lack of leadership so far from Gary Gensler has been despicable. I'd use another word, but despicable is the one I'm going to use today. And the reality is I know that Gary Gensler has an enormous amount of wealth of information on this space. And I understand also that Gary Gensler basically feels like he's sitting on his hands to a degree, because if you want the clarity that we all so badly want, Gary Gensler has asked Congress to provide it for him. He put out the call to action. It's time for Congress to legislate and give us just enough to put the SEC back in its own lane. Because unless you give them the legislation, Gary Gensler has made it very clear he's not changing his tune. Oh, and neither is the SEC, because obviously those are two separate opinions, right? Here he is this morning on Squawk Box. Shout out to Jesse H. Let's listen to this.
I'm watching Bitcoin, and I'm not tying it to anything that you're saying, but I got to tell you that having a regulator or a government official just that knows what he's talking about in a calm manner, I think it's helping allay some fears that you turn on the light when you look into an abyss. But my question is, you're a professor, you know how to teach people. Did you ever think of maybe, I don't know, just sending out an email to some of your colleagues in D.C., whether it be at the Fed or in Congress or wherever, and just saying, hey, I'm going to give a little seminar on what crypto actually is. Have you thought about doing that? Because I see things from people in a position to do things that show almost a zero lack of understanding of what we're dealing with here. Well, why don't you offer to do that, to educate some of your associates down in D.C.?
Well, you're kind. I learn every day from talking to my colleagues.
You learn what they don't know.
Let me just say, I've had wonderful one-on-one discussions with both senators and members of the House, sometimes in group sessions. I don't want to share, but I compliment
senators
those
and
that
Treasury secretaries
for discussion on crypto.
Fed chairs, Treasury secretaries, senators, all everywhere then.
Secretary Yellen convened a terrific meeting where we talked about stable value coins, and my colleagues, Chair Powell was in the room, and Yellen and McWilliams, and Chair Benham. I mean, we were there, the president's working group. We had a really engaged discussion that she chaired.
Okay.
Well, there you have it. So to me, that is reinforcing the point that I made before the video played. And that is that he has spoken to all of the necessary people that need to hear what they need to hear, whether it be the U.S. Treasury, whether it be the Fed, whether it be Congress, right? Senators and representatives. It doesn't matter. He has had the conversations already. And it is clear that he's not voicing to us exactly what is missing, but he's had the conversations with them about it. And I believe it firmly comes down to right now, it comes down to everyone giving us what we need to open this logjam for a lack of clarity for the digital asset space to Congress. He has made it abundantly clear he is not going to regulate any differently than Jay Clayton. Congress has got to give us legislation that really delineates the difference between crypto assets and crypto investment contracts. And if we can do that, I think it could immediately put the SEC back in its own lane and out of the way of crypto. unless it's an ICO, which obviously we got to see this case through for that, right? Because I do believe that this is a way to shut the door, because the way Ripple did this, to what the SEC's point of view is they believe Ripple still did an IPO, even though they were open coin when they created the coins and then gifted them to Ripple. I think they feel like, that's a nice try, but from the SEC chair, that's still an unregistered security at their house. I get that point of view. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I get where they're coming from. But I also get, in a larger sense, is that however this went down was different than anyone else has done it to date. And what they need to do is plug the hole, so that now that Ripple gets it done, no one else can do it the same way that Ripple did it for XRP. That I truly believe, because that's how special XRP is, and Ripple. Looking right here, here's some more specialness for you. This is from Ant1 here. This is UPI, Unified Payment Interface. Now let's take a look at this. Global Payment Platform. And this is from Vellore University out of India. And RippleNet will run all the money. Just take a look at a couple of these diagrams here. It shows very simple diagrams of the distributed ledger technology sitting in between it, which, presumably could be and serve as the XRP ledger and the ILP complement, right? So then you see also here, Bank of America, JPMCoin, Federal Bank, Distributed Ledger Technology, Bank of Spain, Inc., Santander. You can see how the banks respectively hook up to the central banks, and then the Distributed Ledger Technology through the rest of that framework. So you can see how that goes, and shout out to Ant1 for this. I just want to show you quickly, this is Vellore Institute of Technology out of India, and I want to take you now to the report itself to highlight some of the things that I think are extremely important to take note of in this global payment platform report. So now here in the abstract, I do need to read this particular portion to you. You're going to like it. The pace at which global interactions and transactions are taking place, efficient cross-border payments, is the need of the hour. Cross-border payments are transactions made by individuals, companies, banking institutions, where the payee and the recipient are based in different countries to optimize commerce, develop and strengthen the ties between nations, and carry out similar international payments. Cross-border payments are very crucial. Technology advancement in the area of blockchain distributed ledger technology have shown lots of promise to transformational approach to cross-border payments. It says here, both new age fintech firms like Ripple and incumbent banks like global banking leader JPMorgan Chase have adopted DLT technologies to solve the current challenges in the cross-border payment. The results from the early adoption have been very encouraging. Ripple's system is one of the pioneers in this cross-border payment network in India, Unified Payments Interface, known as UPI, as an instant real-time payment system developed by National Payments Corporation of India, known as NPCI, facilitating interbank transactions. Did you hear that? Interbank transactions. Really quickly, remember when I showed you this in 2020, January 2020, Central Bank Digital Currency Policymaker Toolkit from the crooked, weird, creepy World Economic Forum people? Yeah. Remember page 17 when it says inter or intrabank payments and settlement, JPMCoin and XRP. You need a second for that? That's what we're talking about. And they're talking about JP Morgan, Ripple, the whole bit. Interbank, right? The whole, you get it. Okay. Well, let's keep going, because there's a couple other things I want to show you here. They go down here. They talk about all the different entities considered and through making this report, and the different cross-border areas and regions, everything from China, Europe, you name it. So here are the challenges of cross-border payments. Let me just go to the second paragraph here, where it talks about traditional SWIFT system is facing newcomers like the Ripple system, which is based on blockchain distributed ledger technology with its own crypto tokens. With all the challenges currently existing in cross-border payments, new age fintech firms, prominent being Ripple, and incumbent banks like JPM Morgan Chase, are tackling the problem head on. This is pretty remarkable, ladies and gentlemen. Then it breaks down the Ripple system, which we all understand, the minimal fees, right, to keep the DDoS attack down. And then it talks about the components of the Ripple network, the messenger system, the ILP, the interledger protocol, FX ticker, and a validator. The FX ticker is important. And why is that important? Well, if we go back to, was it 3.1? Let me see where, if I go back to this one part that I want to show you here. On the FX, if I could. So yeah, the FX ticker facilitates the exchange rates that are provided between ledgers. Since this involves cross-border transaction, there's a serious need of monitoring the exchange rates during the transaction, and it helps coordinating the transfers on the ledger for settlement. It also ensures validity of the FX quote and transfer on the interledger protocol or interledger settlement amount to the beneficiary bank's ILP ledger. So before, and obviously we don't want to get too deep here, right? But the reality is do you remember this? The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, where it cites SWIFT's Global Payment Innovation GPI tracking product and Ripple and virtual currency, XRP, which can affect those settlements between credit unions and banks for cross-border transactions. This is supporting the same thing with understanding why the FX ticker would be involved, because it could show that FX quote in real time before the sender and receiver accept or send that transaction. Now, that's the first time in cross-border payments history that that's been a thing. Just that, right? So that's pretty remarkable. But let's keep going down, take you through this, right? It says here in this section here, it really goes into the whole ILP, which is the interledger protocol, provides a ledger to keep the risk low and also makes the process automatic. Once XRP fund is received by a bank, the same will be converted to local currency and thereby transferred to the customer. Again, showing the benefit of using something like XRP and how the transaction will be converted to that XRP funds, which further funds will be sent to the bank via XRP network directly on the ledger. Right? Then it shows the XRP currency. Synthetic currency is how it's referred to here, which I thought was an important term to note, right? Because they're not calling it anything else. And then it says here JPMorgan Chase, which really talks about JPMorgan which we saw from the World Economic Forum in 2020 when we showed it to you. And then right here, inter and intrabank payments and settlement, JPMCoin and XRP. Now, if this document's from 2020, you're seeing this report from Valor, right, being written here, right, on all the effects of Ripple and cross-border payments and the whole like, okay? That's what we're seeing here. So if we're seeing that, and this is April 21st, 2020, to me, there is a huge parallel going on at this time with the understanding of how this is all going to work. Where did they get this information? Where did they get the information that we're going over that aligns so well with the World Economic Forum document that we've been showing on this channel for a year now? Just where? Please tell me. You know, this tells me that this is lining up with the World Economic Forum. This report is absolutely in step, right? Which tells me that there's a large international plan. However loose it may be, this is a globally coordinated effort. That's the point here at my house from all of this. And when people say, oh, well, the SEC can't tell Ripple what to do with XRP, bullshit. Because the U.S. Treasury can too, and the U.S. government can. And then your first knee-jerk reaction is, yeah, but they can't tell Europe what to do. They can't tell the U.K. what to do. They can't tell Japan what to do. They can't tell China what to do. Yeah, well, I'm going to call bullshit again. Because here's the deal. If it's so free to use, then why is the rest of the world that has absolute clarity about what XRP is, which is a currency at their house, why are they not using it at its full-scale intended use? Because it's globally coordinated. Now, here's the other part you might not be ready for, too. The escrow is where all the XRP comes from. So when an exchange, and you see 260 million XRP moved overnight, 112 million XRP moved overnight, when you see that, where do you think that came from? The XRP ferry? Let me tell you something. The XRP escrow releases once a month. Who is the steward of that escrow release, for which where all the XRP comes from that makes it to market? This is where it comes from. It comes from the release every month, and then Ripple is the steward that decides how much to stay out, and they've been an amazing steward of the release of the escrow. But the fact of the matter is that's an American company that is the steward of that escrow release. And if there's a decision made about whether or not the U.S. Treasury may come in and do a forced buyback every month of the escrow, then guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Whatever XRP is out here on the market is what is available to you and I as retail investors. Because U.S. retail investors are already sidelined greatly. God bless. We all know Uphold is still offering it, and we love them for it. BitTrue, you can trade into it if you have an account. But if you're in the U.S., I'm understanding that you're grandfathered in, but you can't make a new one. Now, you think about that for a second, right? They've already sidelined retail investors. So whatever goes on after this court case is settled, whatever goes on with the legislation from Congress, and whether or not the U.S. Treasury may step in depending on what XRP is classified as, not saying the court case will do that, but they may be a part of doing that at the Treasury. What I see here, I can't know every answer to. But what I can tell you is I see here the shape shift of an asset that is about to serve the whole world. And it's an American company that is the steward of that monthly escrow release. And you could say hashtag relist on secondary exchanges and all of that, where you and I get XRP. The Binances, the Coinbases, and all of this. But if they make it to where it's accredited investor institutional level, then the XRP that's available is the XRP that's out here right now, and there will be no more that's available to you. And you say, oh, well, I live in Scotland. Well, you may live in Scotland. You may live in China, Japan. But where do you think all this XRP comes from? It comes from a release every single month from a U.S. company, Ripple. Don't think that it can't happen, because it absolutely can. What I can tell you is that this report right here is pretty remarkable in laying out, and this is on my Twitter, so you can follow me there and go check it out for yourself. And shout out to Ant1 again for this. But I mean, this is very supportive of the understanding that we are going to see a huge paradigm shift in the financial world, and certainly with cross-border payments and the central banking system alike. No question about it that this is going there. And all of this from the World Economic Forum and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau are well in support of the same notion. This is the most fascinating thing I've ever followed in my life. There is no question about it. Well, that's going to do it for me, and that's where we are on this day. Hit the like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Make sure you share with somebody, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Make sure you check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. They are trusted products and services that I use each and every day, and they are very safe to click on. Be very careful what you click on out here on the internet. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you on the next one.